Hello, everybody. I got some news. Uh, this started 2 years ago, almost 2 years. I told those doctors, everybody, to lower the dose on the pill that she was taking. Pass the buck back and forth. They're all in the same health system. Back and forth. So and so raised it. So and so lowered it. So and so raised it. Well, they never did. So my sister got twisted bowel caused by it. Of course, they blamed something else, but it was caused by it. And the idiot or idiots that need to be fired that took care of my sister when she was sedated because of the pills she was taking that I told them to lower, never rolled her, never turned her, never checked her skin. They hadn't checked her skin, or they'd just seen it. Probably never bathed her either. But she was in one spot, laying on her back for 3 weeks, developed pressure sores on her coccyx or both of her heels. I'm sorry, but my sister is one of the kindest, most generous people that I know. Wouldn't hurt anybody. She was in that hospital for 3 weeks. They sent her to a nursing home where she was at 45 days. They were putting cream on something that looked like a blood blister, but it was huge on her heel. And I thought that was kind of ridiculous, you know. They wouldn't. I told my brother what to try, but they said, no, don't do that. But they kept doing the same thing. They wrapped her feet up and probably so tight that she didn't get any blood flow to it. And they continued to do that continuously, and probably with not even changing the bandage as often as they should have. She was in there 45 days in that nursing home. Even her doctor works there, and he didn't do nothing. They sent her home with swollen feet and wrapped up, expecting my brother to take care of it. And wasn't home a hot minute before Easter. I mean, they had bought Easter dinner and everything else. She went back in that same hospital and I told them not to do it. There they stripped her of her rights, saying she was incapacitated for 4 months. 4 months. And then they were waiting for the court date. When they got the court date, it was postponed because I had put in papers for guardianship because they wanted a guardian on her. and they received the paperwork that I sent them. In 3 days, all of a sudden, miracle, she wasn't incapacitated anymore. Still, they were saying, oh wow, her foot was doing great and this and that. The man scraped her foot but didn't do anything he was supposed to. You're supposed to replace, that's kind of like a surgery, you're supposed to replace it with tissue. But he never did. And supposedly it wasn't infected, this and that, all that bull crap. And even before, when I went to see her, when this all started with when she went back in there, that's when I got that real bad feeling when I walked into that room. I knew something was going to happen, and she was there for 4 months. Stripped her of her rights and everything else, wouldn't listen to her. Ignored her when she was trying to talk. She went through a lot of abuse. But we went to court and they didn't show up. They said they sent the court a letter saying she wasn't incapacitated anymore, but they didn't show up and the judge was not pleased. And I dropped mine because my sister wasn't incapacitated. So in 3 days they found a home part to put her in, and she was there for 2.5 a month and a half. She got in there, and no sooner did she get in there, she was put in the COVID unit because she was exposed to COVID, supposedly. And in the hospital, they had taken the COVID test before she went in there. And then she had to be put in a COVID unit for 2 weeks. Then she was supposed to go home that Friday, but all of a sudden she had to go in quarantine. And then they made an appointment for a wound doctor or wound clinic. And instead of calling an ambulance and having them come get her to take her into the hospital, they waited until she had that appointment. They waited 2 weeks. I went to visit her, and I wanted to see it. And she would show it to me. She thought I wouldn't like to see it. My brother reminded her that no, she would have been able to take care of it. And she went to this wound clinic the other day. And it's in another hospital because she refused to go back to the other one. Which I'm glad, but she should have, But sometimes, you need to see for yourself, and it's a hard lesson to learn sometimes. And she had the person call me. She didn't call my brother. She called me, told me she was in the hospital, where my daughter works at this particular hospital. My daughter knew about it even before I did. And first we heard they were going to cut off her below the ankle, so like that. And just today, my brother said that they amputated her leg from the knee down because of the infection. I call that incompetence, and I shed a tear because it's like part of you, but there's one thing I can say that helps a little bit, is that I did not have to make that decision to have them do that. My sister did that on her own. She was learning how to walk. There's going to be the biggest lawsuit you've ever seen with this healthcare system, and I don't care who I have to go through to get there. My sister did not deserve that. I mean, she suffered mental abuse. They put restraints on her because she didn't want a thing crammed down her nose, and it was the same hospital where she got the sores. Yeah, I'd fight back too. But my sister was too weak to fight back, but they put her in restraints anyway. And then they mentally abused her by giving her false dates and misinformation and all sorts of stuff. The caseworker told me and my brother, don't be calling here. You know, that caseworker is going to be going down too. All of them, all of those caseworkers that were involved, the doctors, the freaking nurses, the ones that were in charge of my sister, that hospital system, the whole damn thing. It shouldn't have happened that way. Bed sores are treatable, but they don't know how to do it. They don't do it the proper way. First of all, those things need to be aired out. They need to dry out. And bandaging them up and stuff like that and putting a big boot on it is not going to help it any bit. My daughter says she never worked there. And now she says she's absolutely not going to work there because even though she would get more money, and her hospital's talking about laying people off. But she's got seniority, so. But they never listen to the peons, the ones below, the grunt workers. I'm a CNA, so I was trained to know how to take care of those sores. But they don't listen, you know. My daughter even said the doctors asked her, because she's a respiratory therapist, she had to teach the doctors. She's in a good hospital, but she's going to need to go therapy as far as brain work, because she says she's okay, but stuff like this just does not go away. It scars you for the rest of your life. She didn't deserve that. That was uncalled for. Those sores are treatable, but they let it go. The pill that she was taking causes vascular issues, causes sepsis, causes a lot of issues that she was having side effects, and I was trying to tell them that. The last nursing home she went to was sued twice by community mental health because of bed sores, and they won. And I will go to the end of the earth to find somebody who's going to take on that healthcare system, because my sister did not deserve that. But you know, God's got our back, and you know, what goes around comes around. And that's absolutely true. When you do stuff like that and you work in those types of facilities or with anyone, when you're mistreating someone or that's disabled or is mentally ill or something, you have to remember that could be me. You know, would you treat your family members like you treat some of those people? But yeah, I had shed a tear. It's just, you know, it's hard. But my brother told the nurse that she asked where he wanted her to go, and he says home. I mean, she's been in that hospital, those systems for freaking almost a year. It's time to let her go home. And she is in the better hospital right now. So, but I just wish she would have went there to begin with because, you know, but people like I say, and it's a hard lesson to have to be learned. But Biden and Whitmer, this hospital system, Sparrow Hospital, is their go-to hospital. It's the one that was sent to National Guard when the rest of the hospitals in the state got nothing. My daughter worked her butt off and didn't have any help at all. Cried because people were dying. And I told her, I said, you can only do what you can do. You just take care of yourself. You need a break. You can't fix everyone. It's hard. But anybody that lives in this state, in Michigan, for that matter, any healthcare system, be careful. Be careful and watch your loved ones. If you have elderly people that live in these facilities, visit them, make sure they're okay. If they're not, you make sure they get okay. But I just wanted to come on here and just tell you, give you an update about her. And there's this guy called Kevin. That's his channel. All in capital letters. And they were talking about these people that were, and I've said it before, um, using God to make money. And I've seen even regular people that, yeah, that's what they do. And they don't, they know nothing about God. They know nothing about Christ. Because people are saying, God helps them who helps themselves. You can't just expect, and people do not give these people your money. And this Kevin was griping about the ones that believed in God, taking people's money and living off it. What's he do? He has members and charges people to watch his stuff, the members only, and you can't know everything unless you're a member, kind of blackmail you. So yeah, I don't agree with him either. And first of all, if you don't know Christ and you don't know Jesus, then you have nothing to say, because I know for a fact that Christ can help us. I know for a fact if you take your steps and you step out in good faith, He's going to be there to catch you. He did me several times. But you have to make the steps. You have to make the effort. You have to show Him that you're going to move too. He's not going to just give you things on a silver platter. You have to work for it every day. But I just wanted to tell you, the update. And It's sad news, and I'm sorry to shed a tear, but I just can't picture that stuff. I just can't. But I do care about everybody. YouTube hates my guts. Most people don't care for me, but that's life. Not everybody's going to like you, and I don't have people on my channel that are constantly saying things, oh, you're this and that, arguing with you. I don't have people like that on my channel, but they do. That's the thing with Jesus. The true believers and all these people out there whining because are getting these freebies or this and that selfish. And then you look at what's going on with people in these systems. An unselfish person. But with that being said, I'd like to say God bless. Thank you for being my friends. May Jesus guide you. Keep your family, your friends, and everybody safe in these times. I hope you have a blessed time. God loves you, and so does Jesus. He cares. But with that said, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and peace and love. God bless you all.